All right, so I've been with VIPKID for 6 months now, and I have a lot of thoughts about it. And I just want to take a few minutes to talk about some of the good and the bad. And I will structure it so the good and the bad are they're next to each other because in every aspect of VIPKID, there's a lot of positives, and there may be some drawbacks, and I want to be able to look at them equally and fairly. So here we go. First of all, I want to talk about the students. They're awesome. They work really hard and they have so much fun, and they get so excited about seeing you, even though it's just this like little digital box of you a couple times a week, maybe just once a week. And they bring props and they remember things about you, and it's just really rewarding to teach them. That said, not every student is your favorite. You will run into some difficult students and some students who you just are trying to connect with, and you're just not the right fit for each other, and that's totally normal. It happens to me at least once a week. And the thing is, like, whatever style you are, there are students who are looking for that exact style, and I've figured out that it's not personal at all if I don't feel like I connect with a student. And then there are those students who they're just really difficult. They don't want to be in class. Sometimes they ignore you, or it almost seems like they're misplaced, like they don't understand what you're saying, and you're trying so hard. And it takes a lot of extra effort to teach those 25 minutes. But the good thing is they're only 25 minutes. So even when you just feel like this student and I, like, this is going to be a good class, I'm going to make everything I can, but in the end we probably are not the right fit for each other, and that's okay. It's only 25 minutes. So that's the con is that it can be really challenging. You might have a class where you feel like you're working twice as hard, but it ends. You can still give them your absolute best, and that's one of the things I really enjoy about VIPKID is those 25-minute intervals. Really, it just helps you like stay engaged, and it's constant, and it changes, and it's just really helpful. It's just 25-minute segments, and it works really well. It's a great system. VIPKID platform, it's massive. VIPKID employees, I've heard anywhere from 30,000 to 70,000 teachers, but it's definitely in the tens of thousands of people coming to educate students and students coming on the other end to be educated. And that's a two-way system, and so much of that relies on technology. And I personally think that the platform does an excellent job with that. I think they have a lot of resources right on the platform for teachers. It's very easy to navigate, although I do wish they had a better search function, or even any semblance of a search function on their platform. That's something that it is lacking. But as far as the platform itself that you're teaching on, it's highly advanced, and if you're going to be working with a company, I think that VIP has a lot figured out. Now that said, one of the major things that teachers talk about in the social communities is the system errors, and it's not perfect. There are glitches. There are times where you will make an honest mistake. Technology is what it is, and I think that it's can suck. It can really suck when you when you try to go in and enter class and it's not loading, or you go to start your computer and you realized, oops, like it's updating or something. I have class in 2 minutes. It's not going to be ready in time. These things happen, and they have happened to everyone. Well, I guess I can't say for everyone, but they've happened to me, and a lot of people talk about this. So this review is talking about the good. I really ultimately think that the platform is very successful. I think that they put a lot of work into it. Obviously, to run an operation this big, you have to have coders and programmers and people just like working around the clock on updates and creating new activities, and everything loads into the classroom already. It takes a lot of work to run a digital structure like this. And so I think ultimately, if you look at the big picture, those system glitches, those errors, they are not pleasant, but overall the system is highly successful. And for those that are struggling with system errors, there are some things that teachers can do personally to help minimize those errors. But we're independent contractors, and any business that you go into, especially in today's day and age, there will be some kind of digital element. There's going to be some technology involved because that's a lot of what we do. And it's kind of where the world is headed, and I think that we need to get on we need to get on board with that. And we can't be alienated when there are system glitches, because we signed a contract in which our entire business is founded on the fact that we are entering a digital platform. Our business relies on technology, and there's some risk involved. Every business has a certain level of risk, and we just have to do everything that we can personally to prepare ourselves for that. And so the good is that it's a very strong platform. The bad is that it's still technology, and it's only 2019, and no matter what, something might happen, and it could kick you out of the classroom, and you might see a penalty for that. You might lose pay, and it's not pleasant. But I think ultimately it really is. It's a very healthy business, and the platform is very easy to work with. So the VIPKID community, I mentioned that there's a lot of teachers, and social media is a great way to connect with them. I have found overwhelming amount of support when I didn't necessarily think I was going to get support, maybe just like a few comments here and there. But it's just been such a blessing to be able to get the assistance from other teachers, comments, feedback. That said, I have seen the negative comments. I've seen those who are disgruntled, frustrated, and they take it out on other people, and it's not fair. It shouldn't be that way. But I'll just say it will happen. It can happen, and they probably just need some prayer and a little empathy, and don't take it personally. It will be okay. Overall, the support it's very, very, from other teachers from on a social platform. It's amazing. I've been really, really impressed with the entire community. Support from VIPKID itself, I personally have felt very taken care of by them. They have online support that you can contact, and they get back to you within 24 hours. It can be pretty generic sometimes. I will say it doesn't always feel like there's a person behind there writing it. They're like, go to this link to get your answer. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Like, that kind of answered it. So the support, but it is there, and they do get back to you pretty quickly, which is really nice. And then they also have firemen in the classroom. So if something's not working in the classroom, sound goes out, or you can't see your student, or sometimes it's just a behavioral thing, they are there to and jump in, and they get there as soon as they can. They're busy. I have found there's been a couple instances where I needed to leave the classroom because I was very ill. And I didn't, by the time the firemen came in and were trying to help me out, it was like, there's 2 minutes left. We're just going to do this. I'm going to finish. I'm going to do it. It'll be fine. So things like that can happen, where if you need immediate assistance, they get there really fast. But I mean, even in real life, you call an ambulance, and I've seen them take 15 minutes before, and sometimes you have to wait for them to get to you. So that's pro and con. They're there, but they're not always, like, it's not instant. It is quick, but not instantaneous. And then there's this is my big one. So then there's the support of VIPKID as wholly operationally, and I think that they do really well. They have a library full of free resources for their teachers. They employ ambassadors to connect with their teachers. They do a lot of really cool things. I want to say that there's a lot of great support, and ultimately I do feel supported. But there's one thing, and that is their discipline policy. This is probably, if you have read any other reviews or listened to other people talk about VIPKID, this is the number one thing I've run across from other teachers, and it's also my number one complaint, if you will, concern with the way VIPKID functions. And what it is if you are late to class, you can get a teacher no-show. If you don't make it to class for whatever reason, whether you canceled well in advance or whether you canceled within the 24 hours before the class, you will get a teacher no-show, which affects your bookings already. That's fair. I'm not saying I have a problem with that. But then they also will charge you. So you can get charged up to $10 for missing class. And I get it because I have worked in the corporate business for like 12 years. So I actually implemented, I upheld a number of different discipline policies, and a lot of them weren't as archaic as this one is. And through some research, actually just in the past few years, found that discipline policies haven't really changed in like 30 years. There's a lot of growth that needs to happen, and VIPKid is no different than a lot of companies out there. So what's happening is you get sick, you're throwing up, or maybe your kid is sick, or you have to go to the hospital, or sometimes you just, like, there was an honest mistake, your computer crashed the night before and you didn't have time to go out and get a new one. Because they crash too, just like humans, right? But what happens is now you've lost pay, and this is your job. I think what VIPKid needs to understand is that teachers are not intentionally not coming to class. They want to be there because we get paid well, and this is for a lot of people very necessary income. So when we don't show up to class, it hurts. It really does hurt us, and we don't want to hurt our students because we love those students. Like, if I didn't show up for Star or Leo, I'd be like heartbroken. I'd be like, I'm so sorry. I'd be like sending the little notes and things because we care about being there for them. That is true. And also, we need the money. So we are not showing up to class intentionally. Like, it happens. It's a part of life. It's a part of any business. So what happens is now you've lost pay. You are feeling guilty for abandoning your students for whatever reason. And on top of that, now you're being charged $10. And I've heard people losing up to like $40 a day. On top of not getting paid. It's painful. And then while I do agree that discipline policies should have some kind of pain point, it's not, if it didn't hurt, people might abuse the system. And that's why discipline policies exist in the first place, is so people don't abuse the system, so people take their job seriously. Attendance and punctuality is important. Being prepared is important. If you think that your computer is on the fritz, test it out the night before. Make sure everything's okay. If you need to go, have a backup. So I understand why VIPKid wants to make this very, very clear, and I think that it's healthy for them to do so. But financially harming your contractors is really not a healthy way to do it. I think it alienates a lot of people, and there's better ways of doing it. I actually could go into a whole essay on different ways to implement a discipline policy. I will not. I just want to say that this is one of the most difficult things for teachers to get accustomed to. It's a very serious discipline policy. If you don't show up, you will lose everything. It will affect your bookings because teachers will see that number for 30 days that you missed that class. And then you also have to pay out from your own pocket. And the thing too about that pay is oftentimes it's more than what you would have made as your base rate in that class. So they're charging you like something like 110% of the class that you missed. So now you're recompensating VIPKid, but you're paying them really like more than what you would have earned, and that doesn't seem fair in my opinion. Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing in my 6 months that I've had to come to terms with. And like I said, I really do empathize with the policy. I know what went into it because I've written similar things myself. Like, we can't have people not showing up to work, so we need to make it really painful when they don't show up. But the problem with that is you're focusing on the bad, and there are so many people who are showing up every day and they're doing their best, and then some of those people still make mistakes, or sometimes life happens, emergencies happen, and you don't make it to class. And then you have those who just set their alarm wrong, but they've been doing this for 2 years and this is the first time they've done it. And there's just no grace. There's no grace. And I really wish that, and not just VIPKid, I wish that companies in general would see this, but VIPKid, I've really felt like they're a very innovative company, and they have a lot of potential to do good, and I think that they could be trendsetters. I think that they can they can lead the way in this. They have the perfect opportunity to do so, and they're not taking it. So that's my comment on support with VIPKID. Yeah. So VIPKID, if you're listening, talk to me. I have a lot of ideas actually on different ways to design discipline policies, and I think we can do better. As for the business side of things, I have been blessed to be fully booked since about the beginning. It did have a slow start. The first month, really, it took some figuring things out, and there's a lot of like little things to do to build your business. Photos, which I found I don't have very many photos of myself. Videos, which I was very uncomfortable making at first, and still slightly awkward. Um, so that it takes some time to build that up, so give yourself some grace. It does not happen right away. It can happen right away. It just kind of depends on what you feel comfortable doing, how much work you put into it. And some people can make a video in 10 minutes and be like, yeah, cool, I feel good about it, and some people just like stress for days over it, and both are fine. It's okay. Like, just, you will do this in your own time. um so yeah, my business, it was very successful. I feel very happy with the business side of things. um and being able to have my own brand with the company, it is not where I want it to be at yet. It's just I've been successful with business wise, so it's been good on that front for the past 6 months. And on that note, just real quick, the cool thing about business in general with VIPKid is when you sign up to be an independent contractor, it is actually like the lowest risk startup you can do for a business. It can cost you $0. Like, you could have no background, you're only probably gonna be a whiteboard, and as long as you already have a computer or an iPad, it didn't cost you anything. You're starting a business. You're not just starting a job that's going to start paying you. You're starting a business. So that's something that I think some teachers forget. They're like, yeah, I started and I didn't get any bookings for months. And that's hard. It's really frustrating. I totally understand not seeing those numbers book, but it's a business, and not every business soars right away. You'll hear success stories. My story is mildly successful, but it's not the same for everyone. It's one of the biggest things I hear people talk about, like, oh, VIPKid wasn't for me. I didn't get any classes. Like, VIPKid should have given me classes. No, like, they're not your boss, actually. They're your contractor. You work through them, not for them. You're building your own business, so you have to take charge of that. And it's totally possible to make a really good money and stay fully booked in this business. And I really believe that's true for everyone. Let's talk money. I feel so fairly compensated. I think that the hourly pay rate that I earn it's the best probably I've ever earned. Not the most, but the best. And I say that because the actual work that I put into it is very low stress. And I've worked a lot of like different corporate jobs, like managing people and teams, and that can be very stressful. And there's some stress with your students. Yes, but like I said earlier, you only have 25 minutes with those students. So if you're feeling really stressed out with Bao, you're like, okay, 5 more minutes, I can do this. And so for an hour, I feel like by the end of that hour, I still have an abundance of energy and grace to do all the things I need to raise my family. So when I interviewed, I have always been a strong interviewer. If you need help, talk to me. When I interviewed, I was very fortunate, but I came out with the highest pay rate that they offer to new teachers. So I've been very blessed to earn a good rate per every half-hour class. Some of that came from experience I already had. I did have a good amount of no teaching experience, actually, technically, but I did have some experience abroad, and part of that was actually teaching English as a second language. It was all volunteer, but I did have some experience there, and I think that helped. So I make about 1,500 a month. At least this last month I did. My schedule has changed a lot. But I think the lowest month I had was like 200, and I was teaching like just a couple classes on the weekend. Um, but yeah, I can sustainably make 1,500 a month, and I feel very confident about that. And everything I make I make it while my family's sleeping, and I love that. So I still have the entire day to do everything I need to. I work very part-time. And I feel at the end of the day like I've earned my compensation and that it was very fair. So really, it doesn't take any preparation, which is good to know because I feel like that hour, I'm actually making that hourly rate. Not like, oh yeah, I made this hour that I taught, but there's also like 20 minutes on either side that I had to do all this reading and preparation and drawing and crafting and whatever. I choose not to do that. Some people do, and that's fine. If it gives you energy, do it. Like, if it makes you happy, do it. If it doesn't, don't, because you don't have to. For me, it feels awesome because I only work part-time. I'm still a stay-at-home mom. I spend all day with my son, and I feel very focused on him. I don't feel like I'm, like, oh, I have to make this phone call to a client today, or someone might call me, so I gotta keep my phone by me. Like, when I'm done, I'm done. I can leave VIPKid behind. I don't take my work home with me, which is a very strange phenomenon for me. For years in management, I always had like folders and things that I was taking home, like, oh, I'm gonna work on this in some downtime. I don't have to do that with this job. Another reason why I feel like it's better pay, not more pay, but better pay than some of the other work that I've done. And it's really helped my family finally see like a stable financial future. It's on the horizon, and I'm looking at it longingly. And it feels really good to know that it's a sustainable option, and we are climbing the ladder. We're making our way back up, and we're trying really hard, and it's working. So it feels good. Just like real quick on the VIPKid lifestyle, the routine, I created a routine anyways. I teach the same times every day. I teach 3 hours in the morning, and that's it. And I feel like I've established a really healthy routine that's really actually, it's helped me. Not only has this job like, oh, like I'm getting paid and that feels good, but like it's also helped me in like very personal ways. I developed a routine, and it's a very healthy routine, and it's helped me just have like live a better lifestyle. The job itself gives me energy because the hour that I worked, all I do is talk to kids, which is fun, and then I go and hang out with my kid, which is also fun, and my lifestyle feels like it suits the job suits it, and it suits the job, and it's really cool to see that, and it's just nice to know that it's so flexible that my schedule has actually had to change a few times, but I've developed that routine. I think is like it's constant now. Like this is gonna be it. This works. But if I needed to change it again, I totally could, and that's awesome. I love that. Okay, now we get to talk about the absolute best part of this job. Um, if you can't tell already, my 6-month review is generally quite positive. And the best thing that comes out of it is actually this this work is so purposeful. And I think that's actually, it can be true of everyone, but you have to find what your intention and what your purpose is in the business. But there's so much built into it. It's so cool. This is a job where we're educators. Like we are, you see, you can actually see like your work, like you can see the fruition of it in a student who you've been teaching for so long, and they're like getting better, and they're learning things, and you're building rapport, and you're developing friendships and relationships, and it's just really cool. There's a lot of purpose in it, but you can just remember this: like bilingual children have a lot of advantages. It's really healthy for them. It's great for the mind, and this is the next generation. Like this is our future, and we are sowing into that, and we get to have an opportunity to teach them, and not just teach them English, but you're in the classroom with them. There are times where you get to even talk about like life things, and if that's important to you, you can teach them the higher levels where you really engage in some serious conversation, and you get to mentor kids. It's more than just being like, this is how you say pig, pig. It's so much more than that, and that's such a beautiful thing. And I feel so happy that I get to work with a company, with a platform that recognizes that need. And for me, one thing I know is that these parents pay a lot of money for these classes, so it's a privilege for a lot of these students to be able to take these classes. There's a lot more students who don't have that privilege. Now, VIPKid, I just found this out, has a rural education support program, so they actually do support rural education for the students who can't afford these classes, which I think is awesome. I did my volunteer time. I did it abroad, so I feel good and healthy about some of the support that I've sowed into the world, and now I'm teaching. I'm still teaching students. Yes, it is a privilege for them, and but I do also think that they take this seriously. These kids have hopes and dreams. They want to go to college. They want to be doctors. They want to be musicians, even. Um, and language helps them. Language really is. It's a very important tool in education, and I think it's important and it's purposeful. And that's one of the reasons I love VIP Kid, is because I genuinely feel like my job matters. So that is my 6-month review. Thank you for listening. I do actually have a lot longer blog post because I really do have a lot of thoughts on this. So that'll be in the video description if you want to go read about it. I've got the highlights, got the long descriptions, and then I've got like this quick like bullet point, like what would I change? What's awesome? So go read that if you want a full description. Otherwise, have a nice day.